While the left rallies for all those rioters in Minneapolis terrorizing churchgoers, they are still apoplectic, or they're pretending to be, losing their minds over January 6th. There was almost a fist fight on Capitol Hill today. And yes, one of their old heroes appeared on the Hill. You only saw him in like one or two photos in the past. He has a grim face on, like Grim Reaper. I'm talking about former special counsel Jack Smith. He testified before the House Judiciary Committee today, and he looked less like a fearless prosecutor and more like a deer in headlights at times. And he tried to justify his prosecution of Trump twice and investigating Republican lawmakers while insisting with a straight face that, oh, he's not political. He would have done this with any president. And he had the gall to suggest that Trump, he's the one who wants revenge. But that narrative did not hold up for long. When Congressman Darrell Issa confronted Smith over targeting Republican lawmakers, well, things got hot.
You, like the president's men for Richard Nixon, went after your political enemies. Maybe they're not your political enemies, but they sure as hell were Joe Biden's political enemies, weren't they? They were Harris's political enemies. They were the enemies of the president, and you were their arm, weren't you?
No.
Mr. Chairman, the gentleman's time has expired by now 34 seconds.
It gets more than 5 minutes.
How many times are you going to interrupt me?
The time belongs to the gentleman from California, but it has expired.
I will be brief in my address to the chairman. We have the evidence that an Article I representative on behalf of the president withheld that Article 3.
Mr. Chairman, I witness granted the same leniency.
And with that, I yield back in disgust of this witness.
Wow. Then came another bombshell. Congressman Chip Roy revealed he'd only recently learned that Biden's DOJ subpoenaed his phone records, of course, without his knowledge.
Mr. Smith, how many members of Congress or the Senate did you subpoena phone toll records?
As I sit here right now, I do not recall a specific number.
Is this the complete list right here? Well, let me ask you this. Am I on this list? Did you target my records and subpoena my phone toll records?
My understanding is your records were subpoenaed by prosecutors before I became special counsel.
I'm thankful for the great staff who discovered the email where I learned for the first time a few weeks ago that my phone records were indeed targeted. We called AT&T and we've learned that they were given to the Department of Justice.
Yeah, Texas Congressman Chip Roy is here. Congressman Roy, thank you for joining us. So you did not know that your records were taken until your staff found out? How is Congress going to proceed here? Because he just kind of shrugged that all off today.
Yeah, first, great to be on, Laura. Yeah, the judiciary staff and all of the work of the committee, we're looking through all the files and the documents, and we found that email where they had indicated that they pursued me simply, now get this, because I'm friends with Scott Perry and because I'd had communications with Scott Perry. I mean, today alone, Laura, I've had multiple calls on multiple bills and text messages with probably 30 members of Congress. We do that all the time, speech and debate. And so they decide, because I've had correspondence with Scott Perry, they're going to use the full power of the government to go to AT&T and extract my toll records and go through that information and that data. And by the way, never tell me. They say, oh, well, you can object. Well, I can't object if I don't know. And by the way, I think there's a lot of other members of Congress who don't yet know, and we're trying to pursue to find out who was targeted. But the real story isn't members of Congress. It's average citizens or hardworking citizens, lawyers, people like my friend Cleta Mitchell, who is a lawyer for President Trump, people who are in part of organizations, conservative organizations, who are targeted, friends of mine, people at the Conservative Partnership Institute, America First Policy Institute. Cleta, by the way, who is the lawyer for the president and filed litigation, as you know, in Georgia. Well, whatever the result of that case, the fact is it's not a criminal act to represent a client and to file a case about election issues. And so they go after her. And by the way, they went out and got her bank records. 2.5 years after she filed the litigation, they were going after her bank records. Why? Because it was political, because it was about the president. It wasn't about the electors. And by the way, I asked Smith, hey, when you first met with Garland, and Garland signed the memo saying this is about electors, did you talk about electors? He kind of hedged. Well, I might have talked about the electors because it was never about the electors. It was was about Trump. It was about politicizing it. And the DOJ needs to go after them. We need justice.
Well, I want to play, this is from the beginning, where he tried to, again, massage all of us and say, look, my reputation stands on its own. I'm not partisan. Watch this.
I am not a politician, and I have no partisan loyalties. Throughout my public service, my approach has always been the same. Follow the facts and the law without fear or favor. Experienced prosecutors know that specific case outcomes are beyond our control.
From day one, and this is just my personal view as a former lawyer and litigator, he comes across as a typical arrogant prosecutor. I'm sorry, there are a lot of good prosecutors out there, but there are many who feel like they're above the law and they can operate with total impunity, do whatever the hell they want. He's always struck me that way, and today did nothing to diffuse that.
Yeah, Laura, I couldn't agree more. I mean, look, I was a federal prosecutor. I've had to sit in court, go before a judge, and look, you have to humble yourself to know that, the words he just said are actually correct, but how you carry yourself and the decisions you make matter. And he's very clearly politically motivated. What I found interesting, one of my colleagues asked him, hey, what's your party affiliation, registration? Well, I don't know if I'm registered in any certain party. I may not even be registered. Which made me wonder, well, do you vote? Like, of course you know these things. And the fact is, he's playing games. He knows full well what he's up to. And this was all about targeting Trump, using the power that he had. And by the way, we've got to review all of the powers that these special counsel, special prosecutors have, because he had no bounds, no limits. He's going after literally 400 plus conservative organizations that were targeted because they were friendly with President Trump, or in my case, as a congressman. Separation of powers aside, I'm a citizen, and I was targeted because I was having text messages and phone conversations with Scott Perry, who, by the way, had his phone confiscated in front of his family on vacation.
Of course. Congressman, we have to move on, but thank you very much for this appearance tonight.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.